California lawmakers advance a bill allowing undocumented immigrants, illegals, to apply for California Dream for All homebuyer assistance. Up to $150,000 or your 20% down payment, whichever one comes first. Let's get into it. Here we go. So this one is literally hot off the presses. This vote just came in. I don't know what California's thinking. I mean, it's just virtue signaling to the nth degree, right? I mean, it's like, you're doing what? How many $billion is your budget upside down? 60, 70 billion dollars. And now you're going to be handing out $150K a pop to somebody who is not a citizen. They've got their job, but and they're paying some taxes. But that's not really how this works, right? It's not really how this works. So now folks that have been lifelong citizens paying taxes this whole time, all of a sudden they are competing with people who haven't even gone through the citizenship process. So, I mean, how does this make any sense at all? Oh, just give everybody a chance. The problem is you don't have the money to do this. And even if you did, is this a good idea? Because California already has a massive housing shortage, right? Prices are incredibly high. I think the median home price in California is like $900,000 now. I mean, it's just astronomical. So now you're going to get more people into the pool that arguably should not be there. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Republicans worried more applicants could further crowd the program and take away assistance from veterans and documented immigrants. I mean, you want to give folks a chance that have paid their dues, that got in line and did all the right steps, did the correct steps. And then all of a sudden, you got a bunch of lawmakers going, let's give them an end around. Let's just give them the opportunity to run in there and buy a home. This will work out great. Homes for everybody. Well, there's something to be said for earning it, right? And there's something to be said for didn't earn it, isn't there? Democrats criticized some of the rhetoric around the bill and noted undocumented people who apply for the funds must work and pay taxes. How's this go for federally funded loans from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac? I don't know. I haven't even got there. But you know what? So we've been talking about this bill for a little while. There's another one in Oregon, $30,000 one that the loan company, they were using state funds and they put out an advertisement. This is only for illegals. They literally put out an advertisement. You cannot be a citizen to get this $30K towards your down payment for a home. No citizens allowed. They apologized for running that ad, but they're still doing the program. So California lawmakers in the state Senate on Tuesday moved forward with the bill that would allow undocumented. Yep. The measure passed on a 23-11 party line vote, with some Democrats not voting. Senate sent the measure back to the Assembly, where it will require a final vote of approval to send to Governor Gavin Newsom. There's no way he vetoes this. Housing for everybody. What kills me is that you're just putting more people into the pool, and that would be okay if there was an adequate supply of housing, and if housing was somewhat affordable. Then I'd be okay with, all right, let's get some more folks in there. But they need to have gone through the same process everybody else has. And that's just not the case. We are literally going out of our way. California is going out of their way to get the illegals just everything, that they could possibly need and or want. And that next step, even though they're not citizens yet, or voters yet, we're just going to let them come in and here's more money. Here's more money. California doesn't have the money to do this. The bill, AB 1840, specifically prohibits the California Housing Finance Authority's Home Purchase Assistance Program from disqualifying an applicant based on their immigration status. Because it doesn't matter where you sit within your immigration status. They can't disqualify you based on that. Because it used to be, hey, you had to be a U.S. citizen. And that's the way I think it should be. I mean, the rules are set up this way for a reason. But while lawmakers look to expand eligibility, a spokesman for California's Department of Finance confirmed on Tuesday, here's the kicker, confirmed on Tuesday, the program has no money to provide. Why are we talking about this? Seriously, why are we talking about this? All right, now we want to make sure that we can get this program going, but it's a program without any funding. So we're going to have to search around and look for some funding, even though we're $60, $70 billion upside down with our budget. California Dream for All program in June awarded 1,700 first-time homebuyers with financial assistance up to 20% of the home's value for down payment and closing cost help. But the program ran out of funds within its first 11 days this year. It's not shocking. California's got a massive affordability issue, and it's got a massive supply issue because they have constricted development. And nationally, we've had an issue with housing supply as well. Somebody sent me a comment the other day and said, Sean, it's not a matter of supply. It's a matter of affordability. And what I would say to that is, yes, there is an affordability issue, but you've got a massive shortage. And the reason you can tell that there is a shortage is that even though interest rates just absolutely spiked and wiped out a massive segment of the population as far as being able to afford a home, just boom, done, almost overnight, July of 2022. It just, the hammer got dropped, interest rates rose, and ton of people were just basically taken out of the marketplace. But if it were truly a matter of affordability and supply didn't have much to do with it, then you would have seen housing prices drop considerably. Because now all of a sudden you've taken away the demand factor. People can't afford it. They can't demand it. So then what you're left with is supply. So what happened when you took out that demand component? Yeah. Did prices drop? No. Across the United States, they rose on average annually last year, 5%, 6%, 7%, kind of 12% in some hot markets. Here in Seattle, I think we were 6%. So, the fact that we had an increase was from the standpoint of you didn't have any supply. So even though interest rates skyrocketed relatively, and the available pool of buyers shrunk dramatically, yes, you've got pricing. Pricing has been held up, values held up, and increased in that environment, in that higher rate interest rate environment. And that is because you don't have enough supply. So now you've got more people here in California that could theoretically compete for this housing, but they won't be able to because the program has no money to provide. This seems like a colossal waste of time, but you know what? It's California. Let's just keep going. But the program ran out of funds. Facing a budget shortfall in the tens of billions, the legislature and governor did not appropriate any funds for the program this year. Shocking. Right? They are trying to cover just normal bills instead of just handing out millions more to illegals that are competing for resources that are in very short supply, mainly housing, right? In order to replenish the funds in future years, lawmakers and the governor will need to approve that in future budgets. So this is all just a bunch of babble. Well, if we had more funding, we could get more people into homes and then they'd vote for us. Is that what's going on? Kind of feels like it, doesn't it? Yeah. Just in, California lawmakers and the state Senate approved 1840, allowing undocumented immigrants to apply. So this is kind of one of those bills at the end of the legislative session, right? State's legislative session is in its final week. California lawmakers have until Saturday at midnight to pass new laws for the year. Man, California, you just got, it's ridiculous, the stuff that they come up with. And you know what? To me, there's an angle here. I mean, they are literally trying to get as many folks on board and into housing because then they know that those folks, hey, who got us into the country? Oh, those guys did. Hey, Who got us our $150K of borrowed money that we don't have to pay back for our down payment for the house? Oh, those guys did. Let's vote for them. Yeah. Yeah. Instead of making good decisions, which, positively impact those who are really, truly in need. I'm not saying the illegals aren't in need, but I'm saying you've already got a ton of Californians who can't afford a house, and they might enjoy, getting one of these basically grant towards down payment. But now they're going to have to compete with people who aren't even residents, who are just somewhere in the asylum seeking process or, whatever it is that they're involved with. So this is set to become law unless Governor Newsom steps in to veto it. I urge the governor to do what is right for California's safety and financial future. Our communities cannot afford these dangerous policies. Yeah, California's on the edge of financial collapse, yet lawmakers continue to push forward with reckless spending. In this one, they're not even really spending anything because there's no money, but there will be down the road, right? I mean, that's in theory. Isn't that what we're talking about? This will be one of those laws that kind of pops up and goes, when did we put that into law? Oh, yeah, back in 2024 when there's no money. Well, there's money now. All right, let's go. Let's do it. At a time when California faces a $60 billion deficit, this decision is a slap in the face to taxpayers and legal residents who are struggling to make ends meet. Yeah. The whole thing, priorities are wildly out of whack. It's like, who are you trying to help here? Who really needs some help? Who's been paying taxes all this time? Who is, kind of finally getting to that stage, maybe where they can buy a home? Those are the folks that should receive the assistance, not somebody who came across the border illegally, literally illegally. I'm a hard no-go on that. I am a hard yes on people getting assistance that, qualify for it, have worked for it. And here's another thing. Is if you get a down payment given to you, and you're 100% in on a home with zero money down, you have no money of your own, your odds of defaulting, they skyrocket. They absolutely skyrocket. It's statistically proven. And the reason is you got no skin in the game. You've got zero skin in the game. You can default on that bad boy and no skin off your back. Yeah, your credit gets hammered. Might not be able to buy a home for a while. But if the market goes south, you know what? You're out of this big debt that you don't have anything in. You didn't lose your own money. Yeah, you got to move out. Yeah, maybe you stay there a while longer. Don't pay any, don't make any mortgage payments. What does that sound like? Yeah, it's the Great Recession. Literally the Great Recession, just a different flavor, right? It's a different flavor. Now, at the same time this ridiculousness is going on, we've got Gavin Newsom to weigh in first in the nation policy on hiring undocumented college students. This is another genius program we're going down the line here. I was reading about how Gavin Newsom, he kind of got pushed aside during that Democratic National Convention in Chicago. He didn't have the prominent spots that people thought he might have. He was supporting Biden up until the last moment. Why would I support anybody else when we've got a genius of a president and he's not going anywhere? And a few days later, Biden's out. Kamala Harris is in. Let's go. Let's give Heels Up Harris a vote here. We're all excited. That was a wild switcheroo, wasn't it? Yeah, all of a sudden you're like, what? Now we're on board with Team Harris. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. All right. And Gavin Newsom just basically just wasn't a spot for him. Maybe down the road, right? Nah, I mean, if Kamala Harris wins 2024, she's running for 2028. Where does that put Gruesome Newsom? 2032? So people are talking about. Who knows? Maybe he'll run against Kamala. Yeah, both from California, though, right? California lawmakers passed first in the nation legislation on Monday that would require public universities to hire undocumented students who lack work permits. Require public universities to hire undocumented students who lack work permits, sending Governor Gavin Newsom a politically dicey proposal during an election year. David Alvarez, a San Diego area Democrat, introduced the bill in February in response to the University of California's decision to reject a similar proposal. The University of California cited legal risks to the system and students, but was also pressured by the Biden administration not to move forward with the idea during his re-election campaign. Well, that's okay. He doesn't have one anymore, in which border security was a major vulnerability. This whole thing is such a mess. And now Kamala Harris is saying, I'm tough on crime. It's like, where you been? No, you haven't been. And all of a sudden, flags are now popular with the Democrats. What's up with that? All of a sudden, hey, patriotism. Oh, you figured out that the American flag isn't a symbol for the far right extremists. Just all of a sudden, oh, we can fly one too. Look at us go. Look at us go. We're not burning our flag. We're flying it. Just a bunch of crazy stuff going on. We will be helping students who struggle every day to stay financially afloat as they're earning their degrees, really changing their lives, Alvarez said on the Assembly floor Monday. And this would only apply to the four-year university system in California. It's a 23-campus California State University, requiring them to hire undocumented students who lack work permits. This should work out just fine. Why are we bending over backwards to make this very, very statistically slim number of folks into homeowners, employees? We're just going down this road, right? I mean, and not vetting anybody. Millions of people have come into the country and we haven't vetted them. And how do we know that? Well, because, so many of the crime narratives are, illegal. Yep. Undocumented, illegal there. Yep. Okay. That news story again, to the point where the media is just like, nope, we're not covering that story. And you're left with just a bunch of, conservative outfits covering kind of some of these major crime stories going on, because the narrative is just so open and clearly, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. And then after a while, folks don't want to hear it because it might look bad for the existing administration who's been in power 3.5+ years, right? And how did immigration go under that regime, comrades? Yeah, here we are. All right. So 20% down up to 150K, but there's no money. And then jobs for illegals at the California State University system. Yeah. Meanwhile, California is broke. But I'm sure it'll all work out fine. But hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and vote for somebody who is mayor of California and somebody else, mayor of California, governor of California, also attorney general of California. I mean, we've got, all those titles between Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom. So make sure you keep voting blue because California is looking so good. Looking so good. All right. If you're not familiar with my podcast, I am kidding, folks. Yeah. Keep voting blue. See how that works out. Folks in California, keep voting for who you're voting for. Things are swell. Don't worry about it. I mean, media is misleading, right? I mean, these news stories won't really come true, will they? Yeah. The only thing really stopping that first one that I talked about was they got a final vote. That's going to be going through. And then they've got it sitting on Gavin Newsom's desk. He's signing that bad boy. He's signing that bad boy. All right. If he's not, we're going to live streaming it. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.